This is Autumn Flora, and she is an amazing designer here in Nashville and an old friend, actually.
Yes.
We've known each other for a
Long
while.
time.
Yes, I know. So I'm so happy to have her on because I want you to give us some tips on when it comes to our house, how we can create really a home that we love.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes.
This is really a treat to be on the show with you.
Good,
and to be able to give some good tips and advice to people who aren't working with a designer. So one thing is find out what room you want to remodel. Do you want to do a remodel? Do you want to do a redesign? What's going to make the biggest impact for your family and your life?
Okay, so to create a home that you love, you can either go do a remodel where you hire a contractor and rip stuff out. You could hire a designer and just do a redesign. But that all sounds so expensive. Like I hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh, how much is all that gonna cost? So what do you do?
It can get really expensive and you can do it on your own too. That's completely fine as long as you know what your budget is. And if you're working with a professional, make sure you give them your budget. They need to know what it is they're working with, how much money you're comfortable with spending so they can stay within that. So really, you need to focus on one or two areas. Start there. A lot of times for people, it's their main living space.
Yes.
So it's their kitchen and their great room. It's the two areas that as a family, they spend time in or they entertain in.
It's amazing where I've heard that whatever room is connected to the kitchen is where most people congregate.
I can't tell you how many times I've had friends over a party. Everyone is around the island where the food is, where the beverages are, and then people will trickle off into somewhere else, but everyone ends up, you have 20 people in one space.
In the kitchen, yes.
No matter how big or small it is.
So if people don't have a huge budget and they're not able to go and hire a flow, go hire a wonderful designer to come in, what do you suggest people do?
There are so many ways that you can find inspiration that's not from a designer instructing you. We have such great resources now online or even still print. I still love all my magazines. So if you love magazines out there, you're okay. So go through a design magazine, rip out a photo that you love, go on House, find some photos, create a mood board on Pinterest. You know, find things that will help you inspire yourself.
Yes.
And also give you a visual on what you're trying to achieve.
That's so good. So how do you find someone that you trust? Like who's a professional in your area that you know, okay, this person's gonna be legit?
Good question. Obviously, if you're in the Nashville area, I can tell a couple of great names to use, but if you're not in the Nashville area, which not everybody watching your show is going to be, there are some great websites to go to. Angie's List has been around for years.
Yes.
I know people who have found great painters, even contractors on that website, so I highly recommend that. Another is House. A lot of people think that it's just something where you go and find photos on there and you can pull them in and have
that's what I
kitchen
thought.
Inspiration or living room inspiration, but there are professionals listed on there. I'm listed on there as well as a professional. And another is Tackle. There are some wonderful services on there from painters to, somebody to, go pressure wash something if you're looking at doing an outdoor area.
Yes. Okay, you mentioned a budget.
Yes.
And I love a budget. So for you all, I created a cheat sheet so that you can visualize your numbers and it's broken down per room so you can figure out the money you've saved, how much you've spent, track it all. So make sure to click the link in the description below after the show. Okay, when I think about clothes, I think about having the investment pieces where you spend more money than you normally would on certain items.
It's funny that
you say that.
Yes.
In design?
Yes, it is true. It's funny that you say that because that's how I reference something for my clients. If they're saying, well, I don't know how much to spend, I don't know what my budget is, I think about when you're going to a store and you're going to an event, how much do you have to spend in your kitchen? You want to invest in your cabinetry, in your countertops. So those are going to be your two big ticket items in there. A backsplash, even faucets, even lighting. Those are things that you can find online and be able to save some money or go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's. Upholstery. Your sofa is going to take up most of your living room or chairs. So for different people, they're going to have different wants, different needs. If you have pets, you're gonna wanna have something that's going to stand up to the test of time with them. If you have children and you're thinking about markers and crayons, you're gonna wanna get a Krypton fabric. You're going to want to get something that has some scrubbability, some washability, something that's not gonna have to be dry cleaned.
Okay, so what are the best places for me to buy the more expensive things? Like what are those expensive things that it's worth buying?
Let's talk about just a redesign, because if you're not wanting to get into all the structural changes and all that, most people are wanting to just refresh with fabrics and furnishings.
Yes.
So when I'm thinking about investment pieces, one thing that I highly recommend is always investing in your main upholstered pieces. But you want to not spend money that you're just gonna end up throwing away later on.
That's so good. Okay, so those are the pieces that, we're gonna invest heavily in. So what are the things that say just accessories, more inexpensive things? Where are your favorite places to get those?
Hands down, Home Goods. If you have a Home Goods in your town, go to Home Goods.
I love Home Goods.
They're wonderful. It's always changing. So no matter if you need something that's seasonal, they have it. If you want something that is you know, with your own color scheme. It's color coordinated. It's not hard to do by yourself.
Beautiful.
So go there and look through, you know, the blues if you have blue in your house. And you can find things that are going to be inexpensive enough. I like to change things out with the seasons too.
So good. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Flo, thank you.
You're so
Seriously,
welcome.
so helpful. I mean,
You are
to
so
create a
welcome.
home, because a home is a place that you're gonna be
It is.
all the time, right? Before you leave work, after work, with
Yes.
the kids, your family. I mean, it's a home you really wanna create something that you love. Okay, I'm gonna take your tips. Use them in my life.
Good,
When I paint my kitchen, a beautiful
Good.
white.
A beautiful white.
Thank you so much for coming
You're
on.
so welcome.